Fans of Bad Chad Customs had been left devastated after hearing the heartbreaking story of Jolene Macintyre, one of the show's most beloved stars. Known for her infectious laughter, unparalleled creativity, and fierce determination, Jolene captivated audiences from the very first episode. Behind the cameras, however, her life was far from the thrilling custom car builds that viewers loved. Today, the truth has finally come out and it's leaving fans in tears. For years, Jolene's upbeat personality masked a struggle few could have imagined. Those who worked closely with her reveal that beneath her cheerful demeanor was a woman battling personal challenges that weighed heavily on her heart. From financial hardships to family struggles, Jolene carried burdens quietly, ensuring that her personal pain never overshadowed the work she loved. Colleagues describe her as selfless, always putting the team first, even when she was quietly falling apart. The tragedy, sources confirm, reached a breaking point recently, changing the course of her life entirely. While Jolene's appearances on the show showcased triumph and creativity behind the scenes, she faced circumstances that no amount of skill or ingenuity could fix. Friends say her resilience was remarkable, yet there was only so much anyone could do. Fans have expressed shock and heartbreak across social media, many sharing personal stories of how Jolene's work inspired them to pursue their own dreams. Yet now, knowing the challenges she faced off-screen, admiration is intertwined with sorrow. Many viewers are left asking, how could someone so talented, so vibrant, and so inspiring endure such heartbreak quietly? As the story unfolds, it's clear that Jolene Macintyre's legacy is more than just the cars she built or the shows she starred in. It's the courage she displayed in the face of unimaginable struggles, and the inspiration she provided to countless fans even when she was silently enduring her own pain. The question now haunting fans everywhere: what really happened to Jolene Macintyre, and how will she recover from this tragic in her life? The garage smelled of oil, metal, and ambition. Jolene Macintyre wiped her hands on a rag streaked with grease, squinting at the hood of the car she had been meticulously restoring for hours. On the surface, it looked like any other day at Bad Chad Customs, the familiar clang of tools and roar of engines filling the air. But beneath the smiles and camaraderie, Jolene carried a burden that few could see. Her laughter, bright and infectious on camera, was a mask, a carefully crafted shield to keep the world from glimpsing the turmoil inside. For years, Jolene had been the backbone of the shop. Colleagues relied on her precision, her creativity, her tireless work ethic. She was the one who could visualize a car from a blank slate and make it sing. Yet, outside the studio lights and cameras, her life was unraveling. Bills piled up, family. Responsibilities tugged at her every decision, and the constant pressure to perform, to be the Jolene everyone adored, left her exhausted. She remembered countless nights lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how she could possibly keep everything together without collapsing. The tragedy had started subtly. At first, it was missed deadlines and forgotten calls. Then, small mistakes, overlooked details on a project, or a misjudged estimate crept in, each one gnawing at her pride. No one said anything at first. Her teammates chalked it up to exhaustion, but Jolene knew better. Every error was a symptom of a life she was struggling to manage, a life that seemed to demand more from her than she could give. Even when she smiled and joked on camera, her chest felt heavy, each laugh a small betrayal of the pain she tried to hide. Her personal life offered no reprieve. Family crises loomed like storm clouds, financial setbacks threatened stability, and the constant public attention made every misstep feel magnified. Friends who tried to reach out were often met with polite deflections. "I'm fine," she would say, forcing a laugh, hiding the truth that her nights were filled with worry and sleeplessness. She felt trapped between the person the world expected her to be and the woman struggling to survive privately. The breaking point came quietly, almost imperceptibly. A combination of mounting stress, personal loss, and the relentless pressure to maintain her professional persona led to a moment of collapse. Jolene found herself sitting alone in her apartment one night, staring at walls that seemed to close. Feeling the weight of a world she had tried so hard to manage slip from her grasp. The vibrant energy that had defined her career seemed to drain away, leaving a hollow ache where laughter and confidence once resided. Yet even in this darkest moment, Jolene's resilience shone through. She knew she had to keep moving to find a way back from the edge. Her passion for cars, her artistry, and her dedication to Bad Chad Customs had always been her lifeline, and she clung to it fiercely. She reminded herself that the tragedy she faced didn't define her. It challenged her to find strength she had never known. As morning came and the first rays of sunlight filtered through the garage windows, Jolene returned to work. Tools in hand, heart still heavy but determined. She began another restoration, each careful adjustment a testament to her will. The world outside may never fully understand the battles she fought quietly, but every bolt tightened, every curve perfected, every engine roar was proof. Jolene Macintyre was still standing, still fighting, and still creating beauty out of chaos. The day after Jolene's collapse, the atmosphere at Bad Chad Customs was tense. The garage, usually filled with laughter, the hum of engines, and the clatter of tools, felt unusually quiet. The team moved with cautious energy, aware that something had shifted. Jolene herself arrived later than usual, her steps heavy, her usual bright smile muted. Even Chad noticed immediately. He had worked with her for years, witnessed her creativity and drive, but he had never seen her carry such a visible weight. Jolene tried to act normal, joking lightly as she reviewed the day's projects, but every movement betrayed exhaustion. Her hands shook slightly as she lifted a wrench. Her mind wandered mid-conversation. Team members exchanged concerned glances, unsure whether to address her directly or respect her privacy. She caught their looks and forced a laugh, saying, "I'm fine, really." Yet inside, the turmoil had not eased. She knew the truth. She was barely holding herself together. Outside the garage, social media buzzed. Fans who followed her personal updates had noticed small signs of stress, delayed posts, unusually quiet Instagram stories, and cryptic captions that hinted at struggle. Comments poured in, some supportive, others speculative. "We love you, Jolene. Please take care of yourself," one fan wrote. "What's happening? Are you okay?" she read, her chest tightening. The attention was both comforting and overwhelming. She wanted to respond, to assure them, yet the thought of explaining her pain publicly was exhausting. Her personal life offered little relief. Calls from family members, long-delayed messages from friends checking in, and bills that demanded attention collided with the relentless schedule at work. Every decision required energy she didn't always have, and she felt herself fracturing under the pressure. Nights were the hardest. Sleepless hours spent worrying about money, deadlines, and the future left her drained. Even when she closed, her eyes, her mind replayed the chaos of the day, the projects undone, the mistakes she feared would compound. Chad eventually pulled her aside during lunch. He spoke quietly, without cameras, away from the team. "Jolene," he said, concern clear in his tone, "you don't have to do this alone. We've got your back." She swallowed hard, emotions rising. Her pride wanted to deflect, to act like everything was normal, but the sincerity in his eyes broke through. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to acknowledge the depth of her struggles. Later that evening, Jolene sat alone in her small apartment, staring at the walls lined with car posters and tools. She traced the outlines of her life, the career she loved, the fans who adored her, and the personal tragedies she had kept hidden. Tears streamed down her face, a release she hadn't permitted in public. The weight of maintaining appearances, of staying strong for everyone else, had finally become too heavy to bear. Yet, in the darkness, Jolene made a quiet vow. She would not let this tragedy define her. She would seek help, lean on those who cared, and take one step at a time. Her art, her custom cars remained her anchor, her outlet. The one thing she could control and shape into something beautiful. As night deepened and the city outside her window quieted, Jolene felt a fragile sense of hope. She was broken, yes, but not defeated. And in the silence, she whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, I will fight again." The following week at Bad Chad Customs felt like stepping into a world transformed. Jolene returned to the garage with a quiet determination, her steps deliberate, her gaze focused. The team greeted her with cautious smiles and supportive nods, aware of the fragility she carried but also respecting her resolve. She was no longer just the energetic, unstoppable force fans saw on camera. She was a woman reclaiming control over her life. Cautiously but courageously, Jolene threw herself into her work, channeling her emotions into the cars she loved. Each bolt tightened, each curve polished, Each engine tuned became a form of therapy, a tangible reminder that despite everything, she still had skill, passion, and purpose. Her hands moved with precision almost automatically, as though the act of creation could soothe the turmoil she felt inside. She felt a strange balance forming between exhaustion and empowerment, fragile but real. Outside the garage, the response from fans was overwhelming. Social media exploded with support for Jolene after news of her personal struggles spread. Messages flooded in. "Stay strong, Jolene. We love you. Your courage inspires me to face my own challenges. Thank you for showing that even heroes have battles." Reading these messages, Jolene felt a warmth she hadn't experienced in weeks. The compassion of strangers and fans alike reminded her that she wasn't alone, that her story mattered, and that vulnerability could be met with empathy rather than judgment. Yet rebuilding wasn't easy. Each day brought new emotional hurdles. Jolene had to balance deadlines, complicated projects, and her own lingering anxiety. Sometimes she found herself snapping at a team member or retreating into silence during conversations, guilt and frustration building alongside exhaustion. But each time, a gentle word from Chad, a supportive glance from a teammate, or a fan message online reminded her why she kept fighting. She was not defined by tragedy. She was defined by resilience. One afternoon, Jolene faced a moment that would stay with her forever. While finalizing a custom paint job, she stepped back to inspect her work and realized a fan had posted a video compilation of her highlights from the show, captioned with encouragement and heartfelt support. Watching it, she felt tears welling up, not of sorrow but of gratitude and healing. She realized that sharing even a glimpse of her struggles had allowed people to connect with her in a deeply human way. She wasn't just building cars, she was inspiring hope. That evening, Jolene sat alone in the garage after everyone had left, the dim lights casting long shadows over the polished vehicles. She ran her fingers along a freshly restored hood and whispered to herself, "I survived the worst. I can rebuild." The words felt heavy and light at the same time, an acknowledgement of the tragedy she had endured and a promise to keep moving forward. Jolene Macintyre knew that the road ahead would not be simple. Challenges would arise, emotions would flare, and moments of doubt would threaten to pull her back. But she had learned something invaluable. Even in heartbreak, there is strength. Even in struggle, there is creation. And even in darkness, there is light. With every car she restored, every smile she shared, and every story she told, Jolene was reclaiming her life step by step, one moment at a time. The weeks following Jolene Macintyre's return to Bad Chad Customs were a test of endurance, both physically and emotionally. The garage buzzed with activity, engines roaring and tools clanging. Yet beneath the familiar noise, Jolene felt the lingering tension of her recent struggles. Every decision, every step felt heavier than before. While fans offered support online and colleagues gave encouraging smiles, the weight of expectation, both from herself and the public, was palpable. She knew that to move forward, she had to confront more than just unfinished projects. She had to confront the fragility of her own heart. Early one morning, Jolene arrived to find a stack of fan letters waiting for her. The messages were heartfelt, many describing how her work and resilience had inspired them through their own hardships. One letter, in particular, stood out. A young woman thanked Jolene for showing that it was okay to be vulnerable, that struggles didn't erase talent or courage. Reading the letter, Jolene felt tears prick at her eyes. She realized that her personal tragedy had created a ripple effect, touching lives she would never meet, and for the first time, she understood the true power of honesty. Despite the support, challenges came quickly. A major project she had promised to complete for a high-profile client hit unexpected setbacks, testing her patience and focus. Jolene felt the old anxiety creep back, threatening to undo the progress she had fought so hard to achieve. One moment of frustration led to a sharp exchange with a team member, leaving her feeling guilty and drained. Chad stepped in quietly, offering guidance without judgment. "It's okay to falter," he said gently. "You've done more than anyone could ask. Keep going, one step at a time." His words grounded her, reminding her that resilience wasn't the absence of struggle, it was moving forward despite it. The following evening, Jolene attended a local fan meet and greet. As she signed posters and posed for photos, she noticed people whispering about her recent hardship. Rather than hiding, she chose transparency, sharing small glimpses of her journey. The reactions were overwhelming. Fans reached out to hug her, sharing their own stories of struggle and survival. Jolene realized that vulnerability had become her bridge, connecting her to a community that didn't just admire her work, they empathized with her journey. Later that night, exhausted but fulfilled, Jolene returned to the garage alone. She ran her hands over a newly completed car, polished and gleaming, and allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The tragedy that had once threatened to consume her life now served as a reminder of her strength. She whispered softly into the dim garage, "I will not be defined by what broke me. I will be defined by what I rebuild." Jolene understood that life would continue to challenge her, that setbacks and heartbreaks were never fully avoidable. But she had discovered a resilience she hadn't known she possessed, a determination to keep creating, connecting, and inspiring despite the pain. Every car she restored, every project completed, and every fan interaction became a testament to her courage. As she switched off the lights and stepped into the night, Jolene Macintyre felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. The tragedy was still a part of her story, but it no longer held the power to control her. She had faced her darkest moments and emerged stronger, ready to continue building not just cars, but a life shaped by strength, vulnerability, and unwavering hope.